Well, good morning, everyone. This is Jennifer Sanchez. You are live with us in the Wise Morning Coffee Chat Show. And I know that we are excited for today. We have a great conversation with the fabulous Jennifer Reyes. So, good morning, everyone that's with us live. Um, if you are watching from the women's support group, make sure that you are giving Restream permission to show your name FB. So it's chat.restream.io/. FB so that we can see your name. And we will probably restream this broadcast again later today at noon for anyone else who didn't catch it in the morning. So you could catch it again later on. So I'm the founder of this show and the founder of the Women's Institute of Self Development and Efficacy, WISE for short. And this is a show about inspiration, conversation, motivation. That's what we're all about. So that's who I am. Go ahead, Jennifer. Let them know who you are.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Reyes, and I'm excited to be here with Jennifer Sanchez today and you, and looking forward to sharing a little bit more about walking forward in your faith, life, and business without these inner demons that try to creep in. So you can call me the demon slayer if you like. Those demons like anxiety, overwhelm, hustle, fear as you try to start, grow, or scale your business.
Nice. I love that. So, of course, for those that are watching, make sure that you say hi and let us know that you are watching with us. This is a live interactive show. I'm trying to make sure that I'm streaming on all of the platforms right now. So, of course, it's a coffee chat show. So, let's start with what are we drinking this morning, right? Let's go into our coffee time. So, go ahead, Jennifer, let them know what you're drinking.
Yeah, I'm drinking throat coat by Traditional Medicinals because I've had a sore throat for the past couple days. I pretty much feel how I look right now, which is not that great, but I'm all right. I just show up, right? We just show up as we are, and yeah, I'm here.
You look great. You look great. We wouldn't even know if you wouldn't have mentioned anything. You know what's funny? Last year's conference, I was like, I felt like terrible. Not last year's. I'm sorry, 2022. I don't even know what year we're on. 2020, right? Our first conference. I was sick
Oh
like a
no.
dog, and it was day of conference. So I just remember like someone bringing me like turmeric. Like one of my team members was like, "Here, drink this," and I was like, "This is disgusting. Like, why would you give me this?" Right? But
Really?
I
You don't like
tried it.
turmeric? I love turmeric
It
tea.
was so potent. I could drink it in small amounts, and it
Mhm.
stains, right? Like I don't know
Right.
if you've ever played with it.
Drink
I
too
was
much, you'll
like,
turn yellow, right?
yeah, I was like, ew, this is so gross. But I was just being a crybaby.
Aw.
I was a little more like, what do they say? I don't know how you say it in English, sentida, because I was sick. You're more
Yeah.
like, oh,
Did
so
you want to
yeah,
be babied?
I did. I was like, I need someone to baby me, please. But yeah, so I'm drinking plain old black coffee as always in my Wise Coffee Chat mug that one of my team members made for me, Mary. So um
Nice.
I love coffee. I think I
I
gotta get off of it though.
I love the smell of it and taste sometimes, but I can't. I'll actually get anxiety, and I just know my body, and there's certain foods or beverages that we could consume, right, that can cause these things. So, yeah, once in a while, maybe coffee ice cream or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, I gotta lay off of it. I could drink 1 or 2 cups per day, and if I allow myself, and then like at night, like real Mexican, like drink at night con tus animal crackers or
Hey, the
like
pan dulce,
concha.
the conchas.
Yeah, with the concha, like that's traditional, right? So it's like,
Right,
hey,
and
we
then you
could
could fall
drink
asleep
coffee
like
at
that,
night.
right? I bet you can fall asleep like that. Like my husband, he can
Yeah.
just drink coffee whenever and fall right to sleep. Not me, I'll be up for a week. I'm
Mm-hmm.
that sensitive, but that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. Did you get to see the movie Encanto, Jennifer?
I have not yet. Mm-mm.
No. Okay, there's one part there where it's not gonna spoil the movie, of course. There's a
Okay.
little boy in there who's always walking around with a coffee mug. It's a little boy, so it's kind of
Uh-huh.
funny because it's like, oh yeah, kids drink coffee in
They
Latin
come out of the
American
womb
countries.
drinking coffee. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so he was just like, tell us all of this. You could see he's all like geeked up on caffeine. Um, so yeah, so I'm super excited to have this show with you. I'm excited to let everyone know that you're going to be a conference speaker. So we'll talk more about that later. But I wanted you to really just dive in how you even started. I'm pretty sure people are interested in how you started your business. So if you can share that, I would appreciate it.
Sure, and I'm gonna condense this down because it's a long story, but, the concept and idea of coaching hit me actually my first year into business, and so that was a long time ago. We're talking about, like, '99 before anybody even knew what what a coach even was, right? They thought maybe I wanted to be a football coach or a sports coach or something like that. So, obviously not, but um I have gotten into coaching, but it took me about 13 years before I started my own business. But prior to that, in 2007, I was coaching, being coached, and even
Mm,
studying coaching, right? And so I was
mm,
totally immersed in this in 2007, but I didn't launch Sales from the Heart in my business until 2013. So I know what it's like to sit and spin in circles. I know what it's like to be stuck, to be confused, right? And to think that you
mm.
need a certification or to think that you maybe aren't old enough or to think maybe you're too old, all the thoughts that go through our minds when we think, oh, we need this first in order to do that. I can't tell you how many times I've come across people that think they need to have, a website, business cards. They have to, have their course put together first. It's just not true. You could actually begin without knowing all of those things. And that's what I love to help people do, to help them get unstuck, to be able to have that clarity and to move forward with unshakable confidence. And let me tell you that unshakable confidence actually has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with me. Doesn't that feel great to release that pressure off of our own shoulders that we try to, carry around for years on end, right?
Yeah, I really like that, and I really can appreciate what you're teaching people because I find that now with working with women, um, yeah, we'll stop ourselves.
Hmm.
Uh, you will put up every dang excuse in
Yep.
the universe, right? And sometimes I wonder if it's more. And no, I don't wonder. I know it's sometimes it's fear based, right? So you're gonna come up with excuses. I've done it. I've done it before I launched. I don't know if you ever did it, right? But
Of course. Hello, 13
right.
years I sat on my gifts and blessings, before I moved forward. But part of that was not knowing who I truly am, right? And who I truly work for, work with, and who works through me. Yeah. So once I actually stepped into that, because really truly knowing our identity and who we are, what our calling is, what our purpose is, that will really, really help. So, yeah, once I got that, then, it took me maybe a couple years, but I still was trying to hide behind this false security blanket of wanting enough income first or wanting to, just gently go into it. And some people they can work their way in. I have a client who she wanted to phase out of her business or out of her job to start her business. And we did that, right? Some people could take
Mhm.
3 months, 6 months, a year. Everybody wants to go at a different pace. For me, I had to go cold turkey. Everything got removed from me in order for me to fully step forward and finally launch Sales from the Heart.
Mm. I'm curious, and now that you say everything was taken from you, what do you mean by that for those that are
Yeah.
listening?
So I'm not saying everybody has to go through this by any means, and the way that I do business doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be the way that you do business. And I teach that too when I come up with, customized non-traditional coaching for my clients. But for me, unfortunately, it took a really dark, demonic, near-death experience for me to finally, walk my path. But really, it wasn't that dark experience that allowed me to fully surrender. It was actually just me finally saying okay and letting God in. Yeah. And so even a near death experience didn't wake me up, but it definitely helped me to be open. Yeah. And so everything around me was just getting stripped away. My job wasn't paying what they promised me. My tenants weren't paying either. And I had to deal with evictions at that time. My living situation was a hot mess. Relationships were a hot mess. So everything was just being stripped from me. And I wasn't necessarily used to that. I was used to being, going out and getting what I wanted and what I say, hustling, which I do not teach. And in this culture, in this world that we're in today, everybody tries to glorify hustling. But what I can tell you is it really is harmful. And so when we operate, the kingdom way, right? And we can go at a pace with his grace. Wow, does business shift and business change?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and I can relate with your story in the sense of, right, like you're almost forced into the path that you're on, right? And I'm comfortable speaking because we're both believers, right? We both, and we've known, how long have I known you now, Jennifer? I think
Oh
like
man,
5 years.
yeah, maybe 5, 6 years.
Yeah, so I know that when I had the other radio show, that's when like I think that's how we met, if I
I think we
remember
met through the Barnabas
correctly.
group because I was on the board of the
Oh,
Barnabas group, and I invited you through,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then I came on your show, and maybe like a
Yeah.
year later or something.
Yeah, 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 you're right. That's how we met. So, and it's been nice to watch your transition, right? Like, because I know, I'm pretty sure you've seen me evolve. I've watched you evolve, and we're both entrepreneurs, and like, and I relate with the idea of like, well, this happens for a reason, and we know, because we both are believers, we know it's God that's operating, right? We know God is like maneuvering and making things happen. See, for me, I got laid off, like I got laid off. I had no other option but be forced into entrepreneurship. It's kind of like, and I knew that's what I wanted. So it's like, okay, here we go. Let's do this, right? So
I
it
mean, I
worked
think
out
we
well
still
for
have a
me.
choice though, but we just keep getting nudged towards it, right? Because if
Of
you reflect
course.
back, those whispers were probably there until it was flat out like, "Okay, Jennifer, come on, let's go," you know?
Well,
And so I had to be laid out, like literally, I was laid out on the floor in convulsions, and my friends that were there witnessing this thought I was going. I thought I was done for too, with that near death
yeah.
experience. But that still wasn't enough. Like I wasn't going to be forced. Like that's how loving God is. What kind of God would he be if he forced us, right? So he gives us a choice,
Mm.
but yes, he loves us first. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. And yes, you're right. He nudges us. Um, I had my logo like years before I actually launched, right? Years before I even got laid off. I had the logo. I knew the vision. I knew the mission. It was kind of like, okay, butterfly, here you go. Like this is what you wanted, right? This is go do it now. I was like, oh darn, now I really have to do this. So yeah, you do have a choice in that. So if you guys are watching, make sure you say hi. This is an interactive show, so write in the chat. Good morning. Let us know what you're drinking. If you're drinking coffee, if you're drinking tea, if you're drinking water, a protein shake, whatever that might be, feel free to share it. We'd like to say hi to our viewers, of course. So now, I definitely am excited, Jennifer, to bring you on because there's something real about your story, and I think people can relate to what you talk about, right? You're real. I mean, near death experience, right? And maybe not everyone's had a near death experience, but they've had some sort of like something that moves you into that direction or catapults you into that direction. So I'm just excited. Any thoughts on a little more to
Yeah,
talk
so
about that?
sometimes it could move you towards it, and then it could also try to push you away, right? So especially if you're here to create impact, especially for the kingdom, right? Everything and anything is going to try to prevent you from moving forward. Good morning, Ruby. Hi, is it Lisa?
Liza,
Liza?
yeah, we
Liza?
we have Liza. Ruby, good morning, beautiful ladies. Liza said she's drinking water. It's good. So
It's
we
good.
always
Stay
love
hydrated. As
that
long as it's not cold water.
H2O. H2O. They say drink hot water in the morning, right?
Yeah,
Hot
yeah,
lemon
some hot, warm
water.
water, especially in the winter if you're in a cold area. Try to stay away from that cold water that can bring forth anxiety too. So, if anybody is dealing with anxiety,
Mm,
let's go back to that because I hear that so much where people want to get started in their business, but they're just not really sure, what to do there. That's good with lemon. Yes, water with lemon.
mm-hmm.
They're
She's
not
drinking
sure
water
what
with
to
lemon.
do with where to start, and everything and anything is trying to come forward and prevent them from having that clarity, from having that impact in who they're called to serve, right? And so, like
Yeah.
you said, Jennifer, it may not be a near death experience, but it may feel like, really painful and uncomfortable for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Some sort of life, right? Like big life change, right? That happens. And I'm sure a lot of the ladies that are watching, they've had big life changes or something in order, because I know both of the ladies that are watching are entrepreneurs. So I'm pretty sure, and I'm excited to see that they're watching with us. So, and I guess that's where we can go into our conversation, right? It's like, being, having this life change, and then pursuing your dreams and your goals, because I'm such a big advocate on just going for what you want, and become, like you say, unshakable, right? Don't let nothing move you. We want to be like grounded and focused. So what are the kind of things that you work with your clients, for those that are just jumping on and
Yeah.
getting to know you?
Yeah, so becoming unshakable actually has nothing to do with you or me. That's the beauty of it. But some of the things that we'll work on is anything in faith, life, or business. But most of the time, I'll work with service based entrepreneurs, coaches, small business owners, and creatives, right? And the things that we'll work on is gaining clarity and direction with where to even begin, who to serve, why are you serving? That's going to be really, really important. And then the strategy and implementation that we'll do together, or sometimes for you or with you, depending on which program we're working with you in, can really take shape in a lot of different ways. But most of the time, at the core of everything is that doing sales from the heart, right? So most of my clients, I can help them get to 90% or higher in their enrollment with their sales. They learn to do this quickly. So I want to give a shout out to Scott. He actually just enrolled his highest paying client ever just after 3 days of learning the sales from the heart method. And we customize this. So I never, ever, ever want to give anybody my exact blueprint, because what works for me may not work for them. You're wired different, and the people that you're called to serve are different. Yeah. So just after that, he enrolled his highest ticket offer ever, so he can offer more transformational value to his client, and they paid in full. And then just a few days after that, another client, right? So that clarity, that confidence begins to come through, but really it's standing firm in who you are called to serve. And anything and everything is going to come forward to try to knock you off and even knock them off, right? So all those mindset things, all the things on the spiritual side, yes, we go there in spiritual warfare. This doesn't need to be scary, okay? But I will help you to be able to cast these things out. And really, God does all the work, not me, not you. He does the healing. But there is a lot of trauma, there's a lot of hurt that comes up as we begin to start, grow, or scale our business, right? I'm sure you've experienced it too, Jennifer. I know I have. I still encounter things, but the difference is I don't stay stuck in it for years, right? Maybe an hour, maybe, half a day or a day, something like that. But I have my
Yeah.
resources and my way of being able to say, okay, God, here, I surrender this over to you, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's even more powerful than trying to take it on by yourself, right? Just
For
kind of like,
sure. For
yeah, I
sure.
can't do this, right?
For sure.
So yeah, I
And
love what you're saying. Go ahead.
And being in community, being, with other people, just like how we're going to gather, at the conference, right? That's important. We don't want to be in isolation. That's so important. The adversary will try to get us to be in isolation, or to think that we need to compete, or, oh, I don't like this, this person over here because they do what I do. No, you each are unique. It's very different, right?
Yes. Yes, and okay, I love that. Let's shift into that. It's that collaboration, right? And I think a lot of people will say, "Oh, it's collaboration over competition," but then they're really like still being competitive, and you'll still come across it's like you're not really about collaboration, my friend, because collaboration means we support one another, we showcase one another, right? I promote, like me and you, we do somewhat similar things, but not exactly, right? So when we came together, and I'm going to be really transparent, the reason why I picked Jennifer for the conference, and I asked her, of course she chose me, let's she chose me, right? Because I was like, hey, do you want to do it? And she was like, yeah, right. because I listened to her at another presentation, and I was like, when I was speaking to her, it just, and I told you this, you presented so well, and you're like, Jennifer, like that wasn't that wasn't like my normal, right? And I was
That's not
like,
my style. I had to
that
prep
was
for that one, and I usually don't prep, I just show up. But that one, God was really clear to put together a presentation, and I did a talk on something that's not even related to business, right? But
yeah,
I was obedient to what he asked me to do, and that actually ended up being really fruitful for me, as well as, like you said, Jennifer, it ministered to you, the talk ministered to you, and many
it
other
did.
ladies. And so then it drew us closer, and I was able to point them to other resources, and yes, some of them with myself too. But it was like, hey, what is talking about, godly relationships have to do with sales? Well, actually, everything. So,
A
mhm,
lot, yeah. And I work with women on that end too, of like conflict resolution, right? What a relationship should look like. Because if your relationship's messy,
right.
it's going to affect the business, right? And it's going to affect you and your self-esteem. So we can go all in that. But that's why I loved Jennifer, because her presentation was so well put together. And I was like, man, she's a good speaker. And I know why, maybe for you, you were in radio, just, you've been in radio for a while, you've done media. So for you, free flowing is nothing. Like me and you can free flow all day. But
I
the
prefer that.
presentation,
Yeah.
yes.
Putting together slides and preparing ahead of time, oh my gosh, that was such a stretch for me, but I had done a similar presentation for the Baton Pass, which is a great organization, for women, and I did that earlier in the year, and so I just said, "You know what, I'm gonna do this again, just a little bit different." So that was really nice, to be able to do as well. So thank you. I'm really glad that it spoke to you, but that's a perfect example of just showing up and honoring where God is calling you and why He is calling you to do these things, right? You sometimes don't know ahead of time, but you'll know maybe later on, and sometimes you don't, but you still just walk faithful with Him. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is great. I appreciate you, and I wanted the listeners that are watching, just if you can give them a little sneak peek as to what you're going to talk about during our conference on February 25th. We had to reschedule the event with all this crazy COVID, numbers and mandates, and it's like, let me just
Yeah.
push this thing back a little bit.
Well, as of that time, when you had asked me, what was coming through was how to go from confusion, to clarity in 5 ways to get unstuck in your faith, life, and business. However, as I just mentioned, depending on, I don't know who's going to be there and what and when, but sometimes at the very last minute, I may get a prompting to change it up. So, as of right now, that's what we're going to talk about. But it's really about what is it that you all are looking for? What kind of support are you looking for? So I would love to hear from you in the meantime. And if you could reach out to Jennifer or myself, right, and she'll share my links there. But if it's not me speaking on something, there's 7 others, I believe. That are going to be speaking as well, 6 or 7 other speakers. And so we
Yeah.
should be able to cover what it is that's placed on your heart, right? That you want to get clarity around. But I love to help people get unstuck so they can move forward in their faith, life, and business. Now, some of the people I work with, they don't want to go there. They're like, Jennifer, let's just talk about my business. Okay, we can do that too. Some want to just talk about their life and business, and some want all three. So I don't shy away from who I am, just like I'm not going to ask you to shy away from who you are, right? And so as long as we can show up and we can communicate, and just like you had said earlier, Jennifer, even maybe collaborate, it's a win. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love that. I remember years ago when I brought you to the other station, I remember you saying, I talk about God. I'm faith based. If that's not your boat, that's fine. Go somewhere else. And I think even saying something like that is powerful. It's like knowing who your niche is, knowing who your audience is, right? And putting it out there that these are the type of people that you enjoy working with.
Yeah.
And that, sometimes someone can be like, oh, you know what? I respect that. It's okay, right? But then
Yes.
those that really love you are going to gravitate towards you, and they're going to be
Yeah.
like, yes.
I
right?
mean, I always say I'm not here to convince, convert, or condemn, but I'm not going to shy away from sharing my testimony, right? But I do work with clients who we do share different faith backgrounds and beliefs, and we can mutually agree on certain things, and then it works out. And for those who don't, they won't even be drawn to me. So I say this often: like people either really like me or they don't. There's no in between, and I'm okay with that. Doesn't mean that it's easy all the time, right? Doesn't mean that that's what I prefer, but I have to be okay with that because we have to stand firm. We have to stand in the gap for those who are being pulled away from,
Yeah.
their true calling and purpose. Yeah. And that's what I stand firm against.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. Thank you so much. So, Jennifer, where can people reach out to you if they need to reach out to you? Where can we send them if they want to just, get to know you more?
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and include a link here to you, Jennifer. Maybe you can share that. So this will be the best way for people to get in touch with me. You can go to Uncertain to Unshakable and just drop your info in there, and then I will connect with you that way because there's a lot of different platforms. But of course, you can connect with me on Facebook, LinkedIn. Those are the preferred places right now. My website, jenniferreyes.com, is being redone. And so soon that will be live, but just not yet. It's been a little delayed. But if
Mm,
people would like to, you know, join me in this interactive live free training on how to go from uncertain to unshakable. I will give you a customized template board where you're going to be able to process and understand and discern, and rinse and repeat what works well in your faith life or business. And then also kind of to know when to walk away from something. How many times do we keep in this repetitive pattern where we're spinning around in circles, right? And we think we're moving forward because we're exhausted, but in reality, we're stuck. Yeah. And so this will
mhm,
help you to begin to process out some of those things. So just go there. The
mhm.
link, I believe you shared there somewhere, Jennifer. And then we'll share that again in some of the other platforms. And you can go there and then we'll get connected.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the fact that you can do it without everything. Like you've been operating without a website. I've been operating with like a semi half website. Like,
Yep,
like
and I've been doing it for 8 years, 8 years, and still
uh,
have a strong business, so, yeah, we wanna
yeah.
utilize, what are your strengths? What are the platforms that you really shine on, and yes, did I have other things going in between that? I was speaking on radio and stages, I was late to the social media game, but I tapped into other people who did have social media. I did live events and workshops, but I kept it simple too. Yeah, and go at a pace with his grace, because I know in the first year when I started coaching, boy, oh boy, did I have this anxiety of trying to make up for lost time of all the years where I was a hot mess and not really stepping into where I was being called. But no, this work that we're called to do is eternal, and we don't have to rush. And when we operate in, God's grace and his overflow, right, things just come together. And so I know it sounds a lot easier said than done, and that's why we're here to support you. So we have a lot of ladies here within
Mm,
the WISE conference with Jennifer, with myself. We'll get you connected to resources. And again, if I can't serve you, I'll point you to other areas that can. I also serve with ministries for the past 10 years on really helping people get to the root of what's causing these things, right? So I know there can be a lot of controversy around this word of deliverance, but it's done in a biblical way. It's in your Bible, and God's the one that does it. He heals through Jesus Christ. Yeah.
amen. Amen. Thank you so much for sharing, Jennifer. And she's gonna be a speaker, and you guys got the 411. We're just making fun of somebody for saying 411 the other day. Like, you're so outdated. But she's gonna share the 411. No, it wasn't 411. She said jive. I was like, what year were you born? Right? Like I know that's an older hip word. And I was just kind of teasing her. But you know what? You come, be yourself, come to the conference. It's going to be a month away at the Radisson Blue. So start putting in your PTOs and your sick days or whatever you got to put in to, I forget what you got to do, vacation days, to be at this event because it's going to be powerful. every conference that we've put together, we get amazing testimonies at how, like, oh my God, I went to your conference and it really shook something inside of me. And months now, I'm doing this, like just attending that event. And for me, those testimonies are gold because it's like, okay, God is working. This is what He wanted us to put together. He specifically wanted me to bring these women together and be in front and on a stage for a purpose. And everyone that's going to go is going to be blessed tremendously. So,
And Jennifer,
thank
what
you.
if what if somebody is out of state that's watching this and they can't attend in Chicago?
Oh, we will have a streaming link live. So you can still watch it live with everyone as if you're there from the comfort of your own home. So definitely it'll be accessible for those that are out of state. We will
Great.
be
But
broadcasting.
if you're in the Chicago area or suburbs, please, please, please do your best to join us live because there is something that really is special about having that interaction. And then I believe, there's some restrictions, but there's ways of getting around those restrictions, right? At the hotel and in Chicago, as
Yes.
everybody knows, with some of the mandates. So please talk to us about that because don't think that you can't attend. Um, there is a way,
It's
right?
possible.
And you
Yep, there
follow
is.
within the legal boundaries. So
Exactly. Get that medical or religious exemption, right? I mean, you did that, right? You were one of
yeah,
the
you can
people.
get it through
You
your
were like, it was
church.
so easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So just know that it is definitely possible to attend and still be safe.
See, there we go. So we can make it happen. It'll be a lot of fun. And you're right. Something about being in the environment is totally different than the streaming. Yes, if you can watch it, great. But if you can be there and network and meet and grow, it's even more. It's definitely more powerful. So thank you so much again, Jennifer, for waking up early for me and being here. I really appreciate you doing this interview with me and chatting with me over a cup of coffee or tea or, anything else, water like Liza. So,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everyone else, thank you again so much. Remember to join us for our conference. We're going to have early bird ticket sales until the 4th of February, where you can get that ticket discounted. I'll make sure I put it in the comment section of this broadcast. And then, of course, you can go to our website, learn more about WISE. You could join a free Facebook community. And you can definitely also email me at info@womenselfdevelopment.org if you have any questions. So thank you so much, everyone that is watching. Thank you, Jennifer. And we will see you next week. Have an amazing rest of your week.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, Jennifer.
Okay.